Joining us now from Nairobi to discuss the appetite of the East African consumer is Muchiri Wahome, CEO of Deacons Kenya Limited. The company owns and manages various international food and fashion brands such as Woolworths, Truworths, Germany's Adidas, Angelos, Mr. Price, Marks and Spencer's and many others, and they've now expanded their footprint into Tanzania and Uganda. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hi.
All right, so let's talk about Deacons and what it is, just for the benefit of the consumer outside of East Africa. Apparently an umbrella body that distributes high-end brands, and you import them and you sell them within the economy. Has the concept worked well in a country like Kenya?
Concept works extremely well. We've been going for about 17 years now with Woolworths, and just under 7 years with Mr. Price, 9 years with Truworths, and both parties are happy, and I believe the customers are happy, so I think it's going well.
So what does that tell us about the African consumer? That they're aspirational, that they want to be wearing international brands and they'll pay for it?
It's not actually about an African consumer, it's just about a world consumer. The whole question of globalization and liberalization has come to bear. People are consuming the same media, the same social media on various platforms, and the homogeneity of the human being is clearly showing itself in terms of aspiration and consumption.
For your shareholders, let's talk about value in the Deacons brand. We know that your net profits are up 36%, so you're doing really well on the sales side, on the earnings side, hoping to go to the capital markets next year. What will you be offering?
An expansion program, one which we started 2 years ago and we continue to pursue. We opened the year at just over 21 stores actually. Right now we're at 27. We hope to close at 31. Enter the Rwandan market, so a fourth country under our belt, introducing a new brand in the baby wear space. Lots of excitement, lots of excitement.
Now, what about the risks that you have to incur? Recently, there's been this depreciating shilling, and it certainly must have a real impact on the cost of importation.
Absolutely right. Admittedly, margins are under pressure. You cannot pass that sort of depreciation directly to your consumer. You've got to be able to soak some of it in. But there are ways and means of mitigating risk in various ways. There are various banking instruments that help you mitigate a 10%, 15% depreciation that we've seen over the last 8 to 12 weeks. So it's not all bad. The second thing is that the consumer still wants. That's important. So what you have to do is try and match his need with what you're providing, and we're seeming to do well. Numbers haven't collapsed in spite of the depreciation we've seen, and we're hoping that the instability of African markets, the inability to actually forecast what's going to be in play, will continue to stabilize in a much bigger way as democratization takes root.
Now, Mr. Wahome, there's also the other challenge posed by inflation at over 14%. You know, many experts say it's an aberration. It's just something that you're seeing at the moment because of the drought, because of rising fuel costs, etc. It's not a permanent situation, but basically consumers are squeezed. And I would assume that buying high-end clothing would not be a priority for the household at the moment.
Loretta, you know, every time you look at the way things swing, as it were, in African markets, you then wonder whether economic theory can hold. So yeah, interesting. I mean, that is the basic, and that should happen. But the question of inflation and recent inflation is a world phenomenon. It's not a Kenyan phenomenon. Fuel prices, pump prices, whether in South Africa, the UK or Kenya, are up by a significant percentage. The impact of that on the wallet and the wallet spend is across the board, and that's going to continue. What one has to do in an inflationary environment is understand what product they are offering. We've got the opportunity to switch from high value products and high luxury value products to more bulk product that gives much more value in terms of value and price. So there are tactics to beat it. But tough times will be with us. They're cyclical. Yeah. You've just got to be on top of it.
I mean, you talked about expansion, and meaning you're setting up additional stores in other EAC member states like Rwanda, which is showing phenomenal growth. What about countries outside of the EAC that still want the kind of benefits that Deacons offers? I mean, are we going to see catalog sales? What sort of distribution networks do you have?
every country is different and every country has its own trading challenges, business challenges. They're all interesting places because growth rates are double digit, so it is attracting a lot of interest. But I think to be able to do business, some basic infrastructure on the governance side, on the democratization side, on the social side needs to be in place for people to have a level of security just for human life in order to do business. So I wouldn't get too excited. I'm keeping my eyes on those balls. And as soon as they stop bouncing too much, we'll be in there in a jiffy.
I mean, we're talking about apparel and clothing, and now you've got your baby wear line that you're talking about. Are we likely to see expansion into a different product ranges, for instance, not just clothing, maybe high-end watches, accessories, other things maybe that I can't even think of at the moment?
Loretta, that is the joy of the markets we're playing in right now. People do want quality, people do want service at a price, and really the world is our oyster if we do it right.